Opening arguments could begin next week in the Boston Marathon bombing trial. A federal appeals court ruling publicity has not jeopardized Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's right to a fair trial. This comes after multiple attempts by Tsarnaev's defense team to move the trial out of Boston. They argue the jury pool would be biased by strong emotions in the city after the 2013 bombings that killed 3 people and injured more than 260. So how is this trial going to play out? Lise Wheel, Fox News legal analyst, and Robert Schalk is a defense attorney and former prosecutor. Robert, do you believe the First Circuit was right here in denying the defendant's request to move his trial because of the intense media coverage surrounding this case?
I think it was the right decision. They always do defer to the trial judge's discretion in making that determination, but it's not like there wasn't precedent for it. There's a number of famous cases, high-profile media cases. Remember, Timothy McVeigh's case was moved from Oklahoma City to Denver, Colorado.
Right.
So it's not like there wasn't any precedent for it. And again, his lawyers are protecting his rights. They're filing all the appropriate motions, and for whatever reason, this is going to be an appellate issue if he loses.
Okay, yeah, so it will be an appellate issue, but I don't think they're going to win on appeal, because as many examples as you can give of when they moved, I can give when they haven't. The American Sniper trial, of course, that just finished. That was in the district there in Texas. Jodi Arias. I mean, there are many, many cases where the judge says, look, if we tried to move a trial for every high-profile case, we would be moving, stuff.
It would be setting a terrible precedent.
And it's not. That's not the standard. If you've heard about it or if you're in the community, the standard is, even though you've heard about the case, you've read about it, seen stuff on TV about it, can you still be fair and impartial? That's the standard. If they say yes, that's it.
Okay, so now the question is finding these jurors. Every one of these jurors obviously knows about this case. So the defense is obviously going to argue they're biased. Some 5 million people were prospective jurors in this case, and over 1,000 people have been called into the jury pool. How then do they select a jury? And they need to decide who leans on what side regarding the death penalty. Because a lot of people want this guy put to death.
Exactly that. Now, what they have to do is they have to get a panel that is death penalty qualified. What that means is if this jury were to find him guilty, and come on, it looks pretty good for the prosecution, would they then be able to take that second step and say death penalty? If they say no, that their beliefs, whatever, in Boston and Massachusetts, fairly liberal place, in the state courts they don't even have the death penalty. This is only because an issue because it's tried at the federal level. You have to be able to ask every juror, would you be able to put this man to death, right?
Right, absolutely. And the thing about it is the judge is doing such a great job because it's these appellate issues are coming up already. He is individually questioning all the jurors. And then he's giving it over to the prosecution and the defense to question them. So they're going to be able to find enough people, 12 jurors, 6 alternates, to say we can be fair, we can be impartial, and we can make that decision.
What about the issue of jurors coming in contact with the outside world? That will be impossible because any time these jurors go into that courthouse, there is going to be a sea of demonstrators out there, and the last thing they want is a mistrial. I mean, could there be anything that could happen that could potentially harm this trial?
Well, here's the thing. There are a couple of things that could happen. They could be sequestered. We normally don't like to sequester jurors because it's very expensive, and it's also really a hardship on the jurors. It means they can't go home with their families. But that's one choice. The other is less than sequestration. Have them gather at a place outside the courthouse, not at the courthouse, then have a bus or some kind of a transport, take them to the back. That happened in the Scott Peterson case before they were sequestered. Before they were sequestered, they were taken from one place to the back of the courthouse and brought in by guards.
Okay, so, I mean, a guilty verdict is pretty inevitable at this point.
I would say so, yeah.
So does that mean this trial will not drag on? Or is this going to still...
as a defense lawyer.
It just seems like these trials, no matter what, whether it's a slam dunk case or not, can go on forever.
The defense is going to want to make this go on forever, as you say, because they're going to want to find anything they can in the record
What leg do they have to stand on?
Well, we'll see.
Regarding...
I mean, would the judge make a mistake along the way? Would the prosecutor make a mistake? Will the jury be tampered with? All of those things the defense is hoping for.
There's not enough witnesses that could come in and fall apart for this case to fall apart. A witness could fall apart on the stand and the prosecution's not going to care.
I mean,
there's going to be so much.
It's so overwhelming.
It really
and as Lee said, they need juror misconduct, prosecutorial misconduct, or the judge to
So
screw
they're
up.
just going to basically look for any loopholes. In fact, they're going to look for possible jurors that could potentially...
The other thing is I think they're going to try to make the defendant look human. Right? Because that is, if you're playing the game towards the death penalty, what you want to do right now if you're the defense is humanize it. him. What I want to do as a prosecution
How
is
do you
demonize him.
a terrorist?
I want to demonize him.
You can't. I mean, it's a very difficult job.
That's impossible.
But
as far
they're
as I'm
looking
concerned.
for people on that jury with kids who are the same age, 19-year-olds. And I know you're trying to say it's related. They make mistakes. They're young. How can we kill a child?
By his brother,
Absolutely.
That kind of thing.
He's a young kid being influenced by his brother. That's the only thing I could see them possibly
Remember
arguing.
the sniper case, way back about 12 years ago in D.C., where the older man and the younger Malvo.
Of course.
That's
Malvo,
exactly
yes.
Malvo. That's exactly what they tried to do there.
This boy was much younger.
I mean, exactly. But that's the kind of thing I think they're talking about. They can't really go for the insanity defense. At least there's been no indication of that. So that's really all they have, right?
Right.
All right.
Yep. Agreed.
Okay, Robert Schalk, thank you, and Lee's Wheel.
You got it.
Appreciate you both coming in.